April 27th meeting of the Fitchburg School Committee. Call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting an audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I see we have no members of the public. So ask that electronic devices be placed into silent mode. Okay, we have no executive session. We will do the salute to the flag. Bob Campbell, will you lead us in the salute to the flag?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have school committee members and student reports, school committee chair report, none at this time. Resource subcommittee.
We will be meeting tomorrow night. School building needs will be meeting tomorrow night,
April 28th
28th,
at 5 p.m.
at the central office.
All right, we'll wait for the next meeting for the riveting update
Yes.
on resources and school building needs. Policy subcommittee.
Yes, we met, excuse me, we met on April 15th and continued with our work on trying to come up with a district cell phone policy. We will continue our work on Wednesday, May 20th at 5 p.m. in the third floor conference room at Central Office. All are welcome to join us.
Thank you, Debbie. Any good updates? Anything we should, any teaser on the cell phone update?
I would say that there's, the overall concern with people is, they want to make sure there are consequences with it built into it, and we know that. So we're also considering, if things don't get followed with whatever the policy is that we come up with.
What's the consequence? Hearing from parents, I also hear, what if I need to get in touch with my child in an emergency?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yep.
That's a lot. And what if there's a school incident and my child needs to contact me? That's the other,
All of those things are being discussed.
yeah, it's complicated.
It is, it is.
Any questions or comments?
Do we have one or two schools that have phone bans right now?
So the two middle schools do?
Do,
Two
okay.
middle schools
Yep.
have implemented a cell phone policy
Okay.
As of this year?
as of this year, yep, yep.
And that seems to be working?
What we hear it is, obviously you have your outliers, but the first 2 weeks were very tough.
Yeah.
Kids learning, the expectations around that, and to believe it or not, a lot of kids, the staff were saying it looks like they were withdrawing from their phones, so they had a lot of, issues with that, but after the first 2 or 3 weeks, things settled down. So now you just have your outliers.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Student support subcommittee?
So our next meeting will be next Monday, May 4th.
All right. School personnel subcommittee, nothing to report. Student advisory committee report. You want to give that, Ayana?
Tonight for the Student Advisory Committee, we discussed attendance for students as well as the new Minga Hall Pass system, which was initiated at the high school. The Minga Pass system is a digital pass system, which is meant to cut back on students skipping classes as well to cut back the paper usage at the high school. We also discussed further acknowledgements about graduation, which we will be talking about within the student representative report. We also talked about the beginning of the year school date and setting up a strong foundation with our students so they understand that we not only work as a team, but we work as a community. Everything we do is not just as adults or just as student representatives, but as to work as a whole, as a machine together.
Thank you.
Great. Any comments or questions? All right, thanks for that. And next we have the student representative report. You can just roll right into it.
Absolutely. This week we have shorter, so I won't be speaking for an hour, but district-wide trimester 3 grades will be closing out for middle schoolers on the 8th. there's a job fair April 29th at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Welcoming Center, which the address is 815 Main Street, Fitchburg 01420. I'll say that one more time. That is the Welcoming Center at 815 Main Street, Fitchburg 01420. The Art Museum from Fitchburg and the YMCA had a family event for Reflection of Me paintings. ESL students were also honored on the 17th with the awards for their excellent participation and work. Special, he's gonna hate this, but a special announcement, and I am so happy to say that it is the birthday of a fellow student representative, Nicholas Bittner. Happy birthday to him. He is officially 18.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Birthday.
Prom will be held next week. It will be held from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Ski Lodge like last year. Tickets for FHS students will own, the last day to purchase tickets is this Friday. Tickets that are not, if you do not purchase a ticket this Friday, you cannot purchase a ticket at all for prom. The relay races will be held May 14th, so please buy your running shoes and get ready. Alumni awards will be held at the high school May 20th. Commitment Day is this Friday.
This Friday, yeah.
So if you are a senior and you are committing to a college this year, please, please, please make sure to report it to FHS 2026 Futures on Instagram, as we would love to hear about where you're going. May 27th as well for seniors is our very last day. Tear from my eye. Graduation will be held at Crocker this year as well on June 5th at 6 p.m. If you are wearing heels to graduation, it is advised that you please buy heel covers, which will help to make sure that our turf stays absolutely perfect and brand new for the new season. For those who do not know what a heel cover is a small plastic piece that is added to the bottom of your heel to ensure that you do not puncture through grass. As well, if it does rain on the 5th, which we are hoping does not happen, the graduation day will be the 7th, and the time for that graduation will be announced beforehand. Graduation stroll for all high schoolers. That is the day in which high schoolers go down to the elementary schools and stroll down the hallways in their cap and gown, will be June 4th. As well, senior awards will be held June 3rd. Senior awards are a moment to acknowledge and celebrate seniors and students who have done exemplary in their academic and also their extracurricular careers at the high school. The senior barbecue will be held June 2nd. As well, Thursday before break, students participated, a select amount of students who are within the internship at the high school, as well as students who participate in Youth Venture, went to a YPAR event. The students engaged in leadership and community building activities while sharing what work they had done within their own communities. Shout out to the student interns who held a presentation on their work with the students in our school district, and as well answered some questions, as well as Diego and his group for the Heritage Club, who got to showcase beautiful heritage of the Taino people, and honestly, amazing. You guys should have been there to see it. As well, I'm happy to announce that we are 3 days out from the musical. Of course, I am biased because I am also in it, but we are having In the Heights. It is a beautiful musical. It centers around our main leading man, Usnavi, who was done by Yancey, and it's a completely Hispanic cast to reflect our beautiful diversity in our school. We try to do the best shows that we physically can at the high school, so please make sure to show up. Tickets for adults are $10 at the door. We also have a digital platform which will be put out onto the school's Instagram. Was that today?
I don't know if it was today.
Was it put out today?
Did you push it out today?
Facebook story, yeah, it was shared last week.
Last week, yeah.
Last week.
On Instagram and Facebook.
So you can buy them digitally. There is an upcharge because of the service platform. However, if you buy in person, it will be $10. As well, students of all levels, meaning if you are in college or if you're in middle school, you get a discount for your tickets that is $5 at the door. All you have to do is show that you have an ID or some verification that you are a student currently. Please come out. It's a great moment. We have snacks available as well. We will have, oh my God, I can't remember the name, but we'll have a Hispanic snow cone dessert that you can buy at the concession stands. As well, we'll have popcorn and in the Heights goodie bag themed that you can purchase. All proceeds of the piragua, thank you.
I was like, piraguas.
We'll have piraguas, we'll have strawberry, cherry, and
It's my son's favorite.
grape. We'll have strawberry, cherry, and grape flavors, and it's an amazing moment. All proceeds will be going right back into our arts department for our productions next year. There will be a need-based drive as well at the high school starting this week and ending next week on Friday. It will be going towards the Civic Students Giving Grove. This grove is to serve students for their heightened need of health and hygiene. It is for the drop that we've had in students who feel that they do not have enough access to the things that they require just because of certain situations that have been happening within our community and throughout the nation. The goods and products that are asked for are any clothes, any first aid kits that you'd be able to provide, as well as deodorant, soaps, etc. Anything that can be provided, as well as clothes and food, are absolutely appreciated. All drop-offs can happen in the main office at the high school, and there will be a bin for any drop-offs that are given. Then we have not much for Longship. We do have Memorial as our final for this. Well, middle schools this week will be going from the 29th to the 8th for MCAS. So please get yourselves ready, get a good amount of sleep, and please bring some snacks because it's always fun. The spring concert will be held for Memorial May 20th. Young Writers USA Unsolved Mysteries Writing Contest recognized students from Miss Nina and Oxalgado and Mr. Daisy's class for their work and are going to be published in a book coming this fall. A car wash fundraiser is also being held by Memorial April 30th to May 3rd. This will be at All Town 129 Wallen Street, Fitchburg, MA, 01420. I'll say that one more time. Walton Street, 129, or All Town 129 Wallen Street, Fitchburg, MA, 01420. It is $10 per car, and all money will be going back to the students. And as well, 8th grade promotion ceremony for Memorial will be held June 24th, 2026. The time is to be determined. I also forgot to say, for Fitchburg High School students, next week and the week after is officially Struggle Week, which is the week in which all AP exams will be held starting next Monday. So again,
Struggle Week.
Struggle Week. Sorry, it's the name given by students for the week of all APs. But make sure to get enough sleep. Make sure to bring snacks. Make sure to drink your water. And also, if you are taking any of the math or science AP exams, make sure to get your calculators as well as your pencils approved by your teachers before testing date.
Is that it?
Wow.
Thanks, Ayana. Any questions or comments?
Well, we're going to miss you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Very comprehensive.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Approval of minutes from the April 6th school committee meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of the April 6th meeting?
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes from the April 6th school committee. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Communications. Do you want to describe what these are, Superintendent Thompson?
Unfortunately, we had our middle school group, the 84 Movement project. The kids were working on an anti-vape campaign and presentation. I'm sure you saw it on our social media. They were supposed to come this evening to present to us. I wonder if they got the date mixed up with next week. So I'll follow up on that, but they were excited to come. Maybe they got their dates mixed up. So I'll follow up with them. I apologize.
All right.
The other communication I did want to also let everyone know is this year, Fitchburg Public Schools is having their own job fair. So historically, Fitchburg Public Schools has always participated with the North Central Mass school districts in a hiring fair this time of year. Unfortunately, a lot of our neighboring districts like Leominster, Lunenburg, Winchendon, Gardner, Narragansett, they're actually having budget cuts this year, and they're not able to actually hire staff. They're actually letting go staff. Because of that, they canceled the North Central Mass Job Fair. However, we're not in that situation, so we are holding our own Fitchburg Public Schools Job Fair this coming Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Welcome Center. All our principals will be there, and including other district staff. If you're looking for a career in education as a classroom teacher, as a paraprofessional, guidance, or food service or administrator, please stop by from 3 to 7 at the Welcome Center for our job fair to find out more information. Okay?
How was this message got sent out throughout the?
Yep, so this was pushed out on LinkedIn.
Was it LinkedIn and
Also, Indeed, in addition to, I think she also put this out on social media, correct? Yep. Yep.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
We've done this before,
Okay,
and it was very successful. We held it in the Memorial Library
okay,
with all of the principals and directors and coordinators at the time, and it was very successful. Yeah, I'm glad we're doing it again.
so we're looking forward to that on Wednesday. Thank you.
And you want to give the CAPS
Yeah.
collaborative report,
Yes,
Pete?
yes. Okay. I've been the Fitchburg representative of CAPS now for, I guess this is my 16th year. In my last 10, I have been chairman of the board of the CAPS Collaborative. And it's been really an honor for me to do this. I worked very hard for Fitchburg to try to maintain a budget that reflects having an outstanding program and keeping our budget as low as we can. I know some of our competitors are raising it by almost 4%. We looked at raising by 3%, and we're already at like a $10,000 difference between different programs. So when they raise it 4% on 70,000, it's more than us raising it 3% on 60,000. You know, so I continue to work hard on that, and with our 14 cities and towns that are involved in it. Our quarterly report now, which is mandated. During the third quarter of the current fiscal year, CAPS Collaboratives continue to demonstrate strong operational, financial, programmatic performances. Fiscal update, FY26 revenue projection. The board has received monthly updates on FY26 revenue projection, enabling us proactive budget planning and continued alignment with the needs of our member district. We're very fortunate our health insurance only went up 7.4% this year. Our staffing actions approved. All new hires, staffing updates have been reviewed and approved at each board meeting of the year. Unlike the school system, the board of directors approves all of the hiring at the collaboratives recommended by the director. The executive director continues to provide regular updates on student enrollment, referral trends, and program capacity. CAPS continues to experience steady referral activity across programs serving students with specialized needs. Current enrollment of 226 students is an all-time high for CAPS. When I started, we were at 65 students. Some miscellaneous, the executive director shared with the board that all building renovations have been completed at 690 Mechanic Street in Leominster. She shared that building inspections were complete, including the Board of Health inspections and all inspections for the occupancy permits. The director shared that DESE approved the application for CAPS' new Public Day program in Leominster at 690 Mechanic Street, and the former Senators Program has now been relocated to this site. These are for younger students in grades 1 through 6. The executive director updated the board that the DDS application to open a community-based day program for adults with disability, over 22 have been scheduled and reviewed for this quarter. Any questions on GAPS? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Up next in the agenda, we have public comment. Anyone here for public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we will skip over that in our agenda to, we didn't have any public comments.
public comments, no.
On
No,
email,
no.
right? Okay. Superintendent's report.
All right. May I ask a favor of the school committee? Can I ask to move an item up underneath budget? Can we discuss the grant submission that we'd like to make? We have someone here that will be helping me, and I don't want to keep her here all night. So would that be okay if I
No
start with
problem.
that?
No problem.
Motion to take the agenda out of order?
All in favor, aye?
Second.
All right. Motion and second to take the agenda out of order. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Katie, come on up. So this evening, Katie Whitaker is here from Monty Tech. Katie Whitaker is one of our partners who is doing a wonderful job and overseeing a lot with the MVP program. Recently, the Executive Office of Education has put out a grant that will allow us to continue to expand our MVP program. So right now, as you all know, we have electrical and carpentry as an MVP program, and next year we'll be adding plumbing. Well, now there's another grant opportunity out there. Another grant opportunity came up that will allow us to expand the MVP program, and working with Katie, we would like to move forward with a culinary experience for our students. Again, it would also involve Narragansett and Gardner students. The way the grant is written is a little bit different than it was previously, so there's a little bit of change. Fitchburg would be the one who would be applying for the grant with the help from Katie at Monty Tech, and we'll be applying together. We'll be like the fiscal agent of the grant, and we'll be working with Monty Tech to kind of oversee the project. So that being said, Katie, do you want to add a few things?
I think you wrapped that up nicely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. If you don't mind, let me.
Yeah, go right
just,
ahead. Yep.
So my name is Katie Whitaker. I've been at Monty Tech for 19 years. I'm the grant writer there. I love the MVP program. I love the fact that we're really collaborating with comprehensive districts in the area who've had so many students on the wait list. With 400 kids sitting on the wait list, it only makes sense that we try to figure out a way to kind of pare that down. The state had a program called After Dark programs, and when we came to the table with comprehensive superintendents, Fitchburg, Gardner, and Narragansett, they said, we just don't want an After Dark program. We want our kids to still play football and have to after-school jobs and really, still have that high school experience. They didn't really want to alter their schedule so much that they couldn't be with their friends after school. So we kind of took that back, and then we came together and really developed a program. It's the first program of its kind in Massachusetts, and it's really being looked at as a model, which
It is.
I take a lot of pride in, and I think Fitchburg really should as well. I mean, the building is in Fitchburg. It's a renovated building. It's an old warehouse. It's 16,000 square feet, and when I walked into the original building, it was empty, and it's 16,000 square foot of nothing, just cinder blocks. And I could instantly see how Monty Tech kids could transform that into 3 programs. But we chose trades programs, right? So when you're doing something like that, you want a building that makes sense together. You don't really want to put early childhood education next to carpentry. It just would be very disruptive. So it made sense to have a construction trades program. regionally appropriate in terms of workforce demands. But what we've seen in the 2 years has been a real lack of interest from our female students. So when we talk about equity and we talk about workforce access, it only makes sense as a woman to take care of our young women and make sure that we're giving them some access to vocational training. And it's not an answer for all interests, but it's something. So there is a building that's adjacent to the existing MVP Academy. I've been in conversation with the owners of that building for years because I've...
One right behind it up the hill?
No, it's the old Ill Recording building. It's,
Oh.
yeah. So, yeah, but I just want it because it makes so much sense for that to be a small MVP campus. Transportation's already happening right to that building. It just makes sense, plus it keeps it all in Fitchburg. So last year, last fall, Monty Tech crafted a grant. It was called a CTE expansion grant. Lots of money the state was putting towards that. We chose not to apply for that grant, even though it was a beautiful application that we had done. We decided not to go ahead and submit it. It would have just cost our districts something, and we are not in a position to cost our districts anything right now. So we tabled that grant, and in the hopes that it might come back down the line. It didn't. And so what happened was the state changed the funding structure so that they don't want vocational schools to apply for those grants. They want comprehensive districts to apply for those kind of funds, being the fiscal agent. But they also kind of require a vocational partner, which is where Monty Tech comes in. I'm the person who wrote the last grant that got us the building for MVP, that kind of started this whole thing. So it made sense that I would work with John to kind of craft something that just was an expansion of that. So we're calling it an expansion of the MVP model that the state has really kind of taken a hold of. It will provide access to 21 students per grade level. Fitchburg has 13 of those students per grade level. So you would have 13 juniors and 13 seniors enrolled. 26 of the 42 students would be Fitchburg students. It's a fantastic idea of workforce training. There's a big demand in hospitality and culinary fields in this area as well. We have some of our largest, I looked at the largest employers in Fitchburg, and all of them have postings right now for food service and preparation. So when you think about Great Wolf, everything from Great Wolf to Fitchburg State to Mock, they're all food service and preparation jobs, and they're not bad jobs, right? So you're thinking about, is there a livable wage attached to that? And I worry about that too, because you don't want people just to work in a job that they may enjoy, but they're not really able to sustain, an independent lifestyle. And that may not happen right away after high school anyway, but we want there to be a career ladder. So I think what we've proposed is something that has we have 7 employer partners who've come to the table, and all I had to say was, I'm working with Fitchburg Public Schools, and people are like, sure, what do you need? So it was that was very refreshing. Like I said, I've worked at Monty Tech for 19 years. I love my job there. But it's sometimes very hard to convince businesses to kind of get on board. I called Dario's owner, right? Like everybody, Fay Club, like there's all these people who are just like, how can I help? I walked into Tavern in the Square before it's even open and met with their manager, and they were just, how many students should we take? So they're very, very eager, and I think that your students will benefit from this. I think the application's very, very strong. It would bring $3.5 million to the Fitchburg Public Schools. $2.4 million of that would be going towards the building, not just the building, the purchase of the land and the demolition of the building and cleaning it up, and I think even paving. So everything, signage, lighting, a lot goes into that. It's more than enough to pay for a 2,500 square foot small teaching facility, but I think it would work. And then the remainder of that grant, $850,000, is kitchen equipment and forks and knives and booths and stools. So very exciting.
Yeah, the MVP Cafe.
MVP Cafe.
Yeah.
This is temporarily called that.
We're calling that. That's what I
Yeah.
keep saying, the MVP Cafe.
Okay, because my coworker's like, I'm not sure I'm in love with that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I called it that throughout the application. So
But I
if there-
think-
Any questions?
What's excellent about this is this will be a cafe that will, a restaurant that will be open staffed by our
Correct.
students,
Yeah.
and we'll be able to go down and
Yeah.
have lunch or some
So I don't know
special
if,
meal.
so I don't know if
with
you've
our
been to
students,
Monty
which
Tech's
is great.
restaurant. We are open, we used to be open 5 days a week, now we're down to 4 days a week. This cafe would be open essentially 3 days a week, 11 to 1, a nice little lunch spot. It's not going to be, it's not the 4-year program that Monty Tech has, but it's a very comprehensive program, and I think it'll be really kind of a fun community spot for people to come in and have a little lunch. That's what gives the students the best. So many questions in this application asked about hands-on learning opportunities or work-based learning opportunities. And very few programs, very few vocational programs have such a built-in work-based learning experience as a culinary program does, right? So all you have to do is just have a very small cafe with a couple booths, and the kids will be back in the kitchen prepping the meal, and some will be taking your order and serving you. So I hope, when it's up and running, people will come down and visit. Yes.
So being positive, so when we get the grant.
When? Yeah.
When we get the grant, it would begin, I can't remember if it's fall of 2027 or fall? 2028.
Fall of 28, right?
28.
Okay, so where are we now? We're in 26. So fall of 28,
Yep.
we would enroll 21 juniors. Yeah.
So by then, the new building would be
Yes.
constructed and,
So ideally, when you receive the grant, you would enter into, like, your contract start date would be, let's say, July 1 this year. So you would work on permitting and getting all that ready. I did a timeline in the grant, and I think it
saw
worked
that,
out to be like a 17-month window where nothing but construction would be happening. And then you would be ready, you'd be admitting students fall 28. You would have it fully, I say fully operational that fall. But in terms of what the students know, they wouldn't be ready to open the restaurant, right away. So I would say probably spring 29, fall 29 would be a great time for you guys to visit the restaurant.
so
the little cafe.
where it's a 2-year program, the first year, would there still be seniors who would be in it for 1 year?
That's a very good question, and that's something we're facing right now with our plumbing program, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
so-
no, they know.
Oh, you do? Okay, so it's a very good question, and it's something I don't want to rule out seniors, and I didn't rule out seniors in the grant as it's written, because I really think the state should reconsider their position on that. I feel like 600 hours of vocational training is certainly better than none, and it worked for our carpentry and electrical program, so I don't,
Good.
so I feel like we can push back a little bit on that.
I mean, that would give them good credentials when they start applying.
Yeah.
to all the cooperating employers here in the area, that they have that many hours in, not coming in off the street.
Well, you're right. I mean, they would
yeah.
have 600 hours of training in knife skills, and they would have their OSHA certifications and allergen awareness certifications, and, I was looking just this afternoon on different certifications that, are there any jobs posted right now with Tavern in the Square? And they have line cook for the Fitchburg location is posted, and they said, we will pay for all certifications. And I thought, you're not going to have to when Fitchburg kids apply, because I already spoke with that manager, and when he saw the list of certifications that we were going to be embedding into the program, he said, they'll be ready to go.
Sold
So, yeah.
on that idea.
Yeah, he was very
That's
excited.
great.
Yeah.
Bob?
Yes. I think it's a brilliant idea, all right? And I'm a huge advocate of bringing vocational technical school programs like this, especially to Fitchburg. We need more of that. And one of the big argument was we didn't have enough students going there. And we were trying to see if we could open something up at the high school, over vocational related.
Right.
But the fact that, this is going to be run just like an MVP program, which
Yes.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
And, I've known Katie for many years as a school committee member at Monty Tech. She's outstanding.
Yes.
And the school's very lucky to have you.
Okay,
Just
well,
wanna say
thanks.
that,
This is
but-
about the kids, and I really can't say this enough. When you think about a 400-student wait list, it's nothing that, Monty Tech does not take pride in having a long wait list. There's nothing worse than answering those calls from those parents and not being able to give them the answer that they want and their kids deserve, And so for Fitchburg to really be, you're not just participating in this program and sending 26 kids off. We're really defining vocational access. And, I've had so many school districts, vocational schools call me and say, can you share how you wrote this grant? Could you share it? I'll share anything, because I really feel like, in FY '29, FY '30, we, Fitchburg, being the leader in this endeavor, will have served 166 more students.
That's great.
Across north central Massachusetts. And that's because of MVP. That's only 4 programs, right? And you're still whole, right? So it's really not hurting Fitchburg at all to do this. And so I feel like this is it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
I'll just
Mr. Roach, go
add
ahead.
to, first, thanks so much, Katie, and this is really exciting, I think, for Fitchburg students, for the city of Fitchburg. You know, I'll do a mea culpa moment here as a former high school principal at Fitchburg High, who was very critical
Yeah.
of the vocational admissions process, the lack of access for many years. And I feel like the last 5 years, Monty Tech and in this collaboration has really leaned in and worked hard to try to figure out, and it's not easy work, we know this, getting the After Dark program up and running, years of effort, years of meeting, years of work, to now benefit 100, I can't remember what it
66,
says,
166
166
once we
students,
get this going, yeah.
which is amazing. And now to be able to potentially add a culinary program, which I do believe, to your point, as comprehensive a set of programmatic vocational offerings as possible. This is just going to enhance that. And again, my mea culpa officially to the Monty Tech team.
That's fine.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Have you
Mr.
No,
Roach.
it's
sign this
great.
later.
Appreciate
Yes.
it.
Ayana?
Nice job.
I was going to say, Mr. Roach basically said what I was going to say about your work. I think it's really integral to our students. I can say personally that I have a lot of close friends who really benefit from the MVP program. And I know that a lot of my friends' lives will be able to continue after high school and be much easier because they get to go through this MVP program and get these certifications and get ready for the jobs that they really want to have.
You're fabulous. Are you a senior? or-
Yeah, she's a senior. She's
Where
a
are you-
gem.
what are you doing next year?
I was going to go to Spelman University down in Georgia.
I know where Spelman is. Good for you. Good for you.
I just had one question. In the beginning, when you had said you want to encourage more female students because there was a lack, I know you didn't mean to, but you framed it as in the sense that culinary is the way that our girls are going. And I'd like to
No.
ask, is there any way that we can encourage, especially at the high school, because I see what you mean when I talk to you who are in the MVP program, that it's mostly on my male friends who end up going.
Yeah.
So is there any way that we can encourage our female students to be in these trade jobs? Because at the end of the day,
Yes, there
trade is
is.
where you make
Yes.
all the money. It's an incredible job.
I think you're wonderful, and Spelman's going to be lucky to have you.
Yes.
And that's a great question. And so what's interesting about that is that it's something that really matters to me, like access to programming that's non-traditional for your gender is hugely important to me. We've hired a female plumber. She's a fantastic master plumber with a lot of experience. She teaches at Monty Tech now, so she knows the curriculum inside and out. She's going to be our lead plumbing instructor. So now we have one female lead instructor on the construction side of things. In my work for grant writing at Monty Tech, I've recently submitted another grant to the Clean Energy Center, and it will benefit the MVP, which is why it matters to you all. And in that grant, I was talking about really wanting to make sure that we attract more female students. And in doing so, we're forming partnerships with labor organizations and trying to get those programs deemed as pre-apprenticeship programs. So there will be more structure in place so that a female might not say, I don't really see this as for me. And instead, we can say, but it's not an ending point. You're not going to work for 2 years down the street. You're going to work and learn for 2 years here. Then you're going to enter into this labor organization and watch your salary skyrocket. Here's some examples of females in this trade, who are doing some really creative and unique things. Alternative career pathways are something we don't talk often enough about. You know, people talk about carpentry or culinary or plumbing, and they don't talk about what does that career look like. You think carpenter, you think on a construction site, and culinary, you think across the street at Dario's. But there's so many different avenues, and so I think we need to do a better job marketing what these alternative career pathways are and successful stories kind of behind that. But this is new to us, so we're learning and we'll get better. But questions like that keep me on my toes, so thank you for that.
Any other questions for Katie?
Just a comment. Before our school committee meeting tonight, we had the Student Advisory Committee, and one of the topics that we discussed was the ways to improve attendance. And I think I think MVP with carpentry and electrical and then plumbing and now
Yeah.
culinary, I think, I have no evidence for my statement I'm about to make, but I think sometimes students don't show up at the high school because that's really
Yeah.
not what they want to do.
Yep.
They want to be in a vocational school, and I think this opens up the opportunity for students to go into the field that they are really interested in, and they'll be interested
They're
in being there every
engaged.
day.
Yeah, that's what you-
And I think
yeah.
this is a good opportunity, that there'll be four different opportunities
Yes.
for our students at both high schools, Goodrich
not
and
gonna-
Fitchburg Ace.
I'm not going to lie, attendance is still an issue, right, at MVP, because I love the idea of, but the students are going to be so engaged, they're going to show up every day. No, they're not. And we're still struggling with that, right? You got to think about who's enrolling in the program, and these are students who may have been at risk or may, like you said, have felt disengaged or disconnected from the learning process. It doesn't happen overnight. That switch just doesn't go on overnight. So we've got to develop more retention strategies, more programs, more, I don't know, but that's a challenge for us. But I do think that the more we engage students, and I think this is a great example of how we can, the better off the students will be. So I think that's an administration issue that we need to kind of clean up a little bit. But I think in terms of engaging students, we're on the right path.
Okay, I just want to say, I concur with Mr. Walsh, 100%, because there are a number of kids who go to, we'll say Fitchburg High School, and they're going and they didn't get into Monty Tech, and they really don't care for the comprehensive high school. And I think you're going to see a big change in attendance for some of these kids now. They get into a program that they really want to get into, where it's hands-on, and I think they're going to do very well, and attendance is going to improve greatly. That's why we have a number of kids that have dropped out of school, but yet and their attendance wasn't good. But now when they go to Goodrich, an alternative school for them, they're doing very well, you know? So
Find
it's
programs that
something
work.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure it out, yep.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the collaboration.
I do too.
You know, because you could easily just keep yourself in your bubble of Monty Tech, and, you know, the students that get in. But I love that everyone's looking the same way, that it's what's best for kids, and trying to reach as many, so,
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just so pleased that cooperation now between Monty Tech and,
I love it.
oh, I do,
Yeah, good.
because it wasn't always like this, you know?
Yes, I know. Having been at Monty Tech for 19 years,
She
I'm very
knows.
aware, Jeremy, just kidding. No, it's really a wonderful thing, and really, all it took was just one really great conversation with John to determine, should we move forward with this or not? And again, it's just a grant, right? So there's no saying we're going to get it, but if we do, what a wonderful example of collaboration, so thank you so much.
And how do we pass on this opportunity for our kids? We can't.
can't.
Right?
Well, also because you don't know the grant, the funding may not be there
This may never
again.
happen again.
Right,
Right.
right.
To me, even if it doesn't, it's the cooperation now.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Really
agree.
important.
Absolutely.
It's not
And
this one that's going to be
that's what I was-
down the road,
please.
it's going to happen, because both school systems are looking for it to happen now.
I think it has a good chance. It's a good application.
I think we do.
So when will we know, or get some idea when the grant might be?
June.
June.
June, and he'll, you know, his
June? This
office,
June?
yeah.
Yeah, this June.
They
we'll let you know.
say, but, you know, skills capital grants have taken a while. I mean, I've waited once for over a year for a skills capital grant that was supposed to be awarded in 2 months. This one I can't imagine, because it's a 2-year grant, very tight timeline. I'm entering the budget, and it says which, you know, what, it's asking you to allocate how much you want for each of the fiscal years. So, you know, the building money has to come up front, right? It's a reimbursement grant, but you're going to spend most of it in FY '27, and the FY '28 spending will be the equipment, the booths, the forks, you
Right.
know, things like that. So I think that I think they really do have a good plan to get it awarded, and contract start date July 1, ideally.
Awesome, great.
We're going to get it, we're going to get it.
I hope so. I hope I'm back here with you guys.
I'm optimistic.
I mean, we check all the boxes,
Yes,
Pete.
yes, definitely. Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve action item 26622, approve the superintendent's recommendation to submit the grant for the Career and Technical Educational Annex Grant Pilot Program with an award up to $3.5 million.
Second that motion.
Okay, motion and second to take up 26622, approve the superintendent's recommendation to submit a Career and Technical Education Annex Grant. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's
Thank you very much.
unanimously approved.
Go hit submit now.
Thank you, Katie.
Hit submit. I'll hit my submit later. Thank you. All right. I appreciate that, and I apologize for the quick turnaround, but
No.
literally just came out last month, and we were going back and forth, and
Yeah.
Can't wait
I'm
on,
like, we got to do it. We're going to make the move, so moving forward. Thank you. Mr. Matarosian, Dr. Matarosian, I apologize. Come on up. So our next presentation is, we have Dr. John Matarosian here, who is our Humanities Director, and he is here to give us a Humanities update. So welcome.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to see everybody again, and I look forward to giving you some updates, and hopefully we can field and address all of your questions and hear some great things from you as well. So I'm going to stick to my cards if that's okay. So slide 11 is where I'd like to start. So regarding the social studies program, this is, really my 5th year of work helping to collaboratively work with many stakeholders to build and implement a comprehensive K-12 social studies program here in Fitchburg. So we are in year 3 of implementation across the board. So social studies is being taught in all of our K-5 schools. It's being taught at the middle school, and it's both middle schools and certainly at the high school level. And it's gone through several iterations each year. And the good news is that implementation is stronger than it has been, and not perfect by any stretch or mean, but we are seeing transformations in the teaching and learning that's happening in classrooms, and that's wonderful to see. So, in short, we're seeing increased student engagement, we're seeing increased academic discourse, inquiry-based teaching and learning, teachers transforming their roles, where, from sage on a stage to facilitator and coach, and that's wonderful to see. We continue to increase learning opportunities for students at the high school by either adding courses or revising, courses or reawakening them that, courses had once existed. History of Fitchburg being a good example of that had, sort of gone dormant, and now we're revitalizing those and making those programs bigger and better. Specifically at the middle school level, we have earned some grant funding to implement inquiry-based learning at all of our middle schools and in our grade levels. So in grades 6 and 7, we received grant from the 1-8 Foundation to implement investigating history. This is year 1 of implementation there, and generally speaking, leaders and teachers both report that the implementation of the curriculum has resulted in increased student engagement and in academic discourse. That being said, there are instances where teachers have had to, with good intent, supplement what's there in the curriculum to reach more of our learners here. And so, and that's actually a good thing, that if we can take something that's very well scaffolded and continue to provide alternative ways for students to learn the content and ensure that each and every student has an entry point, then, by all stretch and means, I think we should do those sorts of things. At grade 8, we are in year 2 of implementation of the Democratic Knowledge Project, an inquiry-based, student-centered civics curriculum that is It's very inclusive. Students can actually see themselves in the curriculum. They've done a really good job to incorporate diverse perspectives, diverse stories, diverse examples of people past and present who have functioned as influencers and change makers. Prince Hall being one example. He founded the African American chapter of the Freemasons right here in Massachusetts, and yet most students never learn about him. So it's nice to see that is in the curriculum, and the kids can actually see people they identify with. Teachers and leaders report that the implementation of that curriculum is going very well, although teachers and leaders also have noted that, like investigating history, we've had to supplement from time to time to ensure that every student had an entry point into the curriculum. For example, finding a video clip to accompany a text reading, finding and leveraging the use of infographics to engage students who might learn better through visuals rather than dense text. So, we will continue to provide teachers with the latitude to make those instructional decisions for the betterment of their students. All of this while ensuring that we are adhering to the grant requirements with regard to civics education and with genocide education as well. So we have purposefully partnered with Primary Source to integrate the teaching of either genocide or issues related to genocide in all grades 6 through 12. So we've asked teachers to work really diligently to find at least one specific concrete connection to their existing curriculum, and we've given them some latitude about where that connection is as they saw fit. So for example, if you're teaching grade 7 and you're teaching the rise of Christianity and the Roman Empire, with empire building and conquest comes the ugly side of history, and so teaching about the Jewish diaspora as part of that unit, to provide students with alternative points of view of that episode in world history, would serve as one specific example of that. We have used the SEL and Service Learning Grant to completely revamp the Action Civics course at Fitchburg High School. And we built that course around the 8 steps of service learning. We used the time during last summer to rewrite the course. This is year 1 of implementation, again, it's great to see those connections and bringing students to the Student Voice Summit recently that we did in Marlboro, and for those students to have the opportunity to not only express and exercise their voices, but really to showcase the great things that they've done. We know we are on the right track. We know it's not perfect, but we also know that we can do better and we will do better. So that is pretty much what you see on the social studies end of things. Should I keep going or stop here and take questions?
We have grants. I mean, John talked a little bit about the grant amount.
Yeah, of course. So the Genocide Education Grant and the Civics Education Grant were previously awarded to the district. I've reapplied for funds for FY27. My hope is that because of the good work that we've shown we've done and the strong implementation, especially this year, we receive strong consideration and funding so that we can make those programs bigger and better and strengthen the implementation and especially experiential learning opportunities for kids, and that's built into part of that. Mr. Campbell, you had a question?
I'm just curious, when you say, this is a specific topic on genocide education, and you got a $40,000 grant, how is this money dispensed in terms of, what makes it, how do you use it to?
Sure. So part of that is professional learning opportunities for teachers. So one of the piece of feedback that we got from teachers before applying, they wanted to ensure that they had content and pedagogy training. They wanted to know that they knew enough about the subject areas. They also wanted to ensure that they had ongoing training, development, and support when it came to teaching hard history. It's very, very difficult to teach, especially this discipline, because it's so politically charged and can be very polarizing. And so they wanted to, especially at the middle school level, receive a lot of resources and strategies to teach about topics of human rights and genocide in developmentally appropriate ways, such that we don't traumatize our children, right? So that's part of where the grant funds went. We also used funds to increase the experiential learning for kids, for our students. And so part of that was something that some of you might have gone to during the last couple of weeks. So we invited Long Ung for a second year in a row to come and speak at our high school. And we held a community event at the senior center. And that was very, very well attended, even by folks coming from as far as Lowell. So that was nice to see. We're envisioning something like that to be even bigger for next year, perhaps a speaker series that takes place over the course of the year that would not focus just on genocide, but I think our children need to see role models that they can identify with in all walks of life, except for what they see on, social media and the mass media. So, normally our students see that there's a lot of athletes, there's a lot of music artists, but they don't see CEOs, they don't see people who are activists, they don't see survivors who have, managed to write their own story. And I think that was the message that was heard very loud and clear by our students and by the community, that no matter what happens to you, I somehow, I am living proof of that as well, that, no matter the lot in life you were born into, you can still have the power to write your own story, and so it was nice, especially for our students, to not hear a message of doom and gloom, but to hear one of empowerment and inspiration. So, and she's great. If you've ever met Lung, she's a great person. So it was used for that purpose as well. We are also bringing some students this year to the American Heritage Museum in Hudson. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I spent some time last week during the vacation week with Hunter Cheney, who's the director of education there, and as somebody who spent 13 years teaching and 8+ years in leadership, I was absolutely floored by the collections that they have available there and by the learning opportunities that are available to kids. So one quick example, that when students go into the World War I theater, and it literally is, there's stuff on coming off of screens and firsthand accounts, but you're viewing that program from inside of a World War I trench. How much more interactive of a learning experience would, I can't speak enough to what's available there. And, I've committed to working with Hunter to partner even more closely to bring more and more of our students and teachers, to really benefit from the collections and the resources and the learning opportunities there at the museum as well. So,
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just wondering.
Sure.
When it was.
Any additional questions on social studies before John transitions to the humanities piece?
On the 2 grants, do you find out this summer if you are awarded the grants for the next school year?
Yes, this is for next year, and both are 2-year grants. So that $60,000 that we're eligible for, would be a portion across the 2 years. Yeah.
Good. Just a last quick question on the
Sure.
social studies. I mean, one of the big concern, like a lot of other people are concerned about, some of our students coming out of the schools doesn't really know the civics of how our government system works on a town scale, city scale, state and federal. And sometimes when you talk to some of these kids, they go, oh, well, I don't know that, oh, geez, So how do you go about making sure our students know all the stuff before they leave?
Yeah, and that's a really excellent question. So The answer is not the Massachusetts frameworks. Much of that material focuses on what happens in Washington, so there's a lot about the structure and function of national government, which most of us, myself included, we never get to be a part of, right? But, and this is a question I was actually asked when I interviewed for this position 5 years ago now, that when it comes to civics, how do I see it? And, we can make the greatest impact here in our local communities. And so, the goal of Action Civics projects is for students to actually find an issue or a challenge in their own community that they themselves have personal interest in, that they care about, articulate why they care about it, conduct the necessary research that also includes speaking to all of you and engaging stakeholders, and developing an action plan that, with them information about what's already been done, along with successes and pitfalls, right, and additional obstacles. And so, by doing Action Civics this way, we want students to know how their local systems work. If you were to interview adults about why they don't participate in local systems, I would be willing to bet, and I think that research would support, that the number one reason they give is they don't know how their local systems work. And they don't know how to interact with that. And so the goal of civic education, both in grade 8 and at the high school, we offer Action Civics in grade 12 currently, and it is a graduation requirement at FHS, is that we want students to walk out not only with their knowledge about how local government works, and I've worked with members of local government and with the school committee to create educational materials for teachers and students, but also how to engage and how to be an influencer and a change maker, even if they're not an elected official. So does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
When do our projects, when are we doing our civics projects this year?
So
Make sure
our
Mr. Campbell,
district
we get you there.
local civics event
Very
is going to be on June 18th of this year. So it's going to be held right here in the legislative building where we held it last year. It was a very, very well-attended and successful event, and a lot of credit goes to Kristen Sachs at Memorial for taking the lead and really spearheading the planning. And it's, year after year, our students, really impress with the quality of work that they do and the level of engagement that they have, related to the community and stakeholders.
What time will that be?
I don't know. It's usually like 9 to 12 or 9 to 1.
Okay.
I'll have to get back to you.
Right, thank you.
I think we have the date, but not the times. yet.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
All right, humanities.
Yeah, so as humanities director, I also have purview over all of the unified arts. And so, the goal this year was to develop a lot of relationships and try to build consensus, build a culture where teamwork is sort of the norm, and build off of the work that was really begun last year when I was not their director. And so, we've done a good deal of work towards that. We've done some vertical alignment work, and that's important that when we look at any of our unified arts programs, that students who enter our district in elementary school and families whose students enter our district during the elementary school, they see the pathway of where their children's learning is going to take them, so that the emphasis becomes on not the minutia of content, but how big ideas and skills spiral across the grade levels and build off of one another. So that work has been, it's ongoing. We're not there, we're not finished, and we know that, but there's a lot of work that still needs to get done. We've worked really hard at taking teachers' input and leaders' input and really doing a needs analysis when it came to professional learning, and providing teachers with job-embedded, differentiated professional development that is specific to their role. For example, we would not want the television journalism teacher at Fitchburg High School in the same generic professional learning environment as somebody who's a health teacher. So we wanted them to have, opportunities that were differentiated according to their specific roles. And the feedback, for the most part, has been very, very good on that. And so we're heading in the right direction there. If you go to slide 16, I'll park there next. We worked hard at building systems, whether that be preventative maintenance to ensure that the kilns and the ceramics equipment is working properly, or to ensure that we have periodic preventative maintenance on our musical instruments. I felt that those things were sorely needed, and the teachers agreed, and even inventory, so that if teachers from one school wanted to borrow phys ed equipment to run different activities that they don't have available using the equipment in their own buildings, then they know who has what in different buildings. And so all of this work is happening, as we speak. We were fortunate to earn Project Lead the Way grants in 6 of our 8 schools here in Fitchburg for next year. So for those of you who are not aware, Project Lead the Way is an inquiry-based STEM and engineering program that Mass Learning Project puts out in conjunction with the 1-8 Foundation and the National Project Lead the Way organization. It is intended for K-12 students to have inquiry-based, real-world, problem-based, project-based learning opportunities across their entire K-12 career. And we were fortunate enough to be either awarded grants directly through Mass Learning or from the National Project Lead the Way organization. So 2 of our 6 schools will be fully implemented using funds from Mass Learning. So that is, those are Memorial Middle School and those in Fitchburg High School. So if you look at the grid, just so you can kind of see what implementation will look like in all of our 6 schools, you'll see that Memorial and Fitchburg High School will be implementing 3 new courses, 1 each year, but by the end of the grant period, they will be recruiting, enrolling, and running 3 new Project Lead the Way courses. So at Memorial, they are starting with design and modeling. That is capitalizing on what students learn at the elementary level with regard to the engineering design model or the engineering design process. They will add computer science for innovators and makers the following year, and then they will end with app creators during the last year. Longzhou will also follow suit with design and modeling. They're a recipient of a national grant, so those grant requirements are a little bit more flexible. And so if you see the grid looking like 2 different things in 4 different places, it's because the national grants came with more flexible implementation guidelines that, we needed those in our elementary schools and at Longzhou, given their scheduling, their needs. So Longzhou will implement one of the other 2 courses either during 27 or 28 and 28-29. At Fitchburg High School, we are going computer science. So next year we'll be offering computer science essentials. That full year course will replace the half-year elective that's currently being offered and taught at Fitchburg High this year. All right. The following year, we'll be adding cybersecurity. And the last year, we'll be offering an interdisciplinary capstone for students, where students can actually collaborate with their peers who are taking study in different pathways and fulfill their capstone requirement. And the great thing about Project Lead the Way in their courses is that they're also aligned and meet the requirements of AP Computer Science as well. And so we thought that that was a great way to bring some uniformity to the programming there. At our elementary schools, they all were recipients of national grants. And like Longzhou, they are required to implement 2 courses in their 3-year period. So the teachers have conferred and we're unanimous, and we'll all implement grade 5 robotics and automation. That is currently taught at Memorial Middle School. It's also taught at Fitchburg High School, so they saw that as a way to vertically align those programs. I thought that was a wise choice. That will be taught in grade 5. They will collaborate and choose one additional grade level and implement that module as well. I would imagine it'll be grade 3 or 4, but I'd like to wait to hear from the teachers first before that happens. So, and then as far as, other things that are there, I guess I'll go to next steps. So if you go to slide 24, you have the full presentation, so you can look and see about family community engagement, as well as progress monitoring and the student assessment data we've collected, especially in social studies. And you certainly have access to a lot of visuals of kids working and kids collaborating, and that's wonderful to see in all of our disciplines. So as far as next steps, and this is spring and summer, so this is across the humanities and not just specific to the unified arts. We have developed common final exams for grade level core courses in the social studies. I have forwarded those to teachers for feedback. The intention is to pilot them this year because that is part of how we will determine competency in social studies. And teachers felt very strongly about having common assessments. So we will pilot them this year, and the piloting of those exams will inform revisions to curriculum and instruction, pedagogy, things like that. We will rewrite our curriculum documents in the social studies at the high school. Based on their feedback, it will result in a greater level of alignment from one classroom to the next. And in the unified arts, we will continue our work with regard to vertical alignment and curriculum development. So if you know anything about the development of a K-12 program in any one discipline, it's usually a several years process. And so, in social studies, we did it in less than 2 years. That's very ambitious. I can't make that promise that we will do it as quickly, but I will promise you that collaboratively, we will do it just as thoughtfully as we did with social studies and each of the unified arts disciplines. So please, questions or
Thank you,
comments?
John.
Yeah.
Questions for Dr. Matarossian?
Just one comment, suggestion. Now that on election days, it's professional development days.
Yes.
The students don't have classes. And I think it was I usually work the polls, except when I'm on the ballot, I don't. Or if my wife's on the ballot, I don't, just so people know. But one year we had a greeter. It was a student from the high school. It's a long day, but it's paid. And I think when I first started working the polls, I learned a lot of what is involved in an election. And I don't know if there would be seniors, it'd be something to talk with the city clerk, Joanna Bellotta, to see if there might be students who might be interested. And I know that the city clerk's office is always looking for people to work the polls. There'll be a preliminary election on September 1st, and then the November election, November the first Tuesday, I think. But it's an opportunity for a senior or maybe a junior who would be interested in doing that.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And as long as there's funding, I'll get that word out and we'll post a job. Yeah.
Any other questions?
They hire that.
They hire, yes.
They hire.
Yep, yep.
Any other questions for Dr. Matarossian?
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much.
Good luck with all the grant applications.
Question right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Anna.
No, really, question just to comment. I want to say that as a Fitchburg High School student and someone who came here in their 7th grade and during COVID, seeing the work as I've progressed throughout my years at the Fitchburg Public Schools, the work that's been done here with civics and getting community work with our students and engaging them not only with the history that we come from, but also the community that we're currently building, it's been truly integral to getting the voices out there and seeing how our curriculum has impacted our students. It's very important, and I want you to know that from a student standpoint, like, your work is very, 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 like, appreciated, and we're very grateful for the curriculum that we're able to have.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I think that says a lot, John. If you remember, when I hired you 5 years ago, we had nothing.
Yep.
You built a social studies department from nothing. We didn't have documents, we didn't have alignment, our materials were everywhere, and I think we've created a great program, and I appreciate you saying that, Anaya. That was what we were trying to do. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, moving on. The next item that is also a vote this evening is the school committee and subcommittee dates for next school year. So in your packet, it provided you with the list of meetings for the 2026-2027 school year for a school committee, in addition to all the subcommittee meeting dates. So those are for your review, and those need to be voted on this evening.
And that's our first action item.
That's your first action
Okay,
item,
so we can
yep.
take that in a minute.
I appreciate you putting some of the subcommittee meetings on the opposite weeks of school committee meeting dates, so thank you.
Any questions on the dates?
They all look good to me.
Yeah.
What does everyone else think?
Any chance that there might be end of August school committee meeting as needed or something? Because we're going to go, what, July, August, not till September 14th?
Yeah, we may need to. We may need to with the cell phone policy, right?
Yeah, so the school committee would just need to call a special meeting.
Yeah. So would you be available maybe the third or last week of August if I needed to call a
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah,
I'll let you know if I have to, but
yeah.
I know we did, I think we did that this year, past year, we had to do that. I think I just reached out to you and asked you, well, are you available this date? And everyone said yes.
If we need something in the end of
Yeah.
August, because we're, it's third week of
Possibly.
September before we meet.
Yep.
And school will have been in session for quite some time.
Yep, we can
As needed?
do that as needed.
Yeah.
I would say probably the 31st would be the date. If we had to, but I'll let
If
you
we
know.
have-
I'll
yeah.
communicate that 1st of August, okay? All right. Do we want to vote now for that? Do we want to wait till,
We can vote now.
You want to take action item 26-620 now?
Yeah, we can do that now, with no objections.
We just have one.
Make a motion, we accept 26-620.
Second?
Motion and second to approve 26-620, approve the recommended school committee and subcommittee dates for the 2026-2027 school year. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. It's approved.
we'll get those to the city so they can start scheduling it out, the spaces for that.
Reserve our space.
We got to we're going to do that now. Reserve our space for next year.
Fantastic.
We'll get that done. All right, so moving forward, this evening I have a very brief update on where we are with our strategic plan. When we come back in June, we'll do a kind of a higher kind of summary of what we accomplished in year one of our strategic plan. So this evening, I will just give you kind of where we are at this point, what we've learned, and what our next steps are. So just a reminder, this is our theory of action, what we believe in Fitchburg. When the Fitchburg community works together through strong systems, high expectations, strategic support, and a shared belief in every student's potential, then every student graduates confident, capable, and ready to thrive in learning, work, and life. And that's truly something that we do believe here in Fitchburg for all our students. In addition, our strategic plan is broken down into 5 priorities. We have all students will grow and achieve. All students are supported and engaged. All staff are invested and empowered. All families and partners are engaged and valued, and all resources are aligned. So those are our 5 kind of guiding principles to our strategic plan. So what does this all mean? So what have we been working on since the last time we updated you? We really stayed focusing on strengthening our core systems that drive improvement, building momentum, and consistency across all our work. We are seeing consistent implementations across our schools and early shifts in practices. So some of the things that we're noticing is advancing instructional leadership in professional learning communities. That's been a really important focus, making sure our teachers are collaborating with one another and planning that quality Tier 1 instruction. So we're making sure we're building the capacity of leaders and our school teams to be more consistent, to more consistently lead and sustain high-quality Tier 1 instruction. It's all about making sure our kids are actually being exposed to grade-level curriculum where they're at. The next one, we're establishing clear, consistent Tier 1 expectations. Moving toward greater consistency in expectations, structures, and onboarding practices across all schools. We're making sure that we're deepening family and community partnerships, strengthening consistent two-way communication and partnerships with families and the community to better support student success. And then finally, making sure we're aligning our systems for strategic decision-making. Increasing coherence across budget, staffing, and all our operational systems to better support our district priorities, and making sure we're providing the best opportunities for our students. So, that being said, what actually have we done? What have we actually seen in the last several weeks? So one of the things that you all know, we've been really making sure we've been expanding family access, improving access to support our families, and one way we've done that is we've opened up our Welcome Center. And that's really been a true testament to what we're really focusing on, improving our community and engaging all families. And one of the things I'm really happy to report is at this time, we have over 133 students already enrolled in kindergarten, because of the outreach and people feeling welcomed and getting their kids enrolled early. That's happening now because of this Welcome Center. So we're really happy to see that. In addition, we've used data to inform our decision-making, guiding our schools and our district decisions. 2 things that we've really seen is our attendance. We've really been focused on our attendance initiatives at all our schools. We're still having trouble at the high school, those, at the highest ages, but we've seen some really good improvements at the elementary and middle school levels that we're happy to see those changes happening, which is great.
Or one-on-one communications?
That's what we hear, right? One of the things that we heard, and some of you heard in our meeting earlier today, is one of the things that our students are actually saying, and one of our student representatives told us that parents really feel intimidated coming to the school when they have to actually talk about attendance. One of the strategies is home visits. So how do we actually encourage and empower and train our teachers and our guidance counselors and our administrators to actually feel comfortable going into our our students' homes and having those conversations at their kitchen table or at their living room. So that's something that, something that we need to work on and move forward in the future. Did you want to add something around our behavioral data?
Yep. So there are two other places that we're using data-informed decision-making. One is that we're continuing to use student work to really inform our professional, our PLCs, our professional learning communities. So when educators are planning, they're looking at the student work to help drive some of their decision-making when they're actually creating their lesson plans. And then the other thing that we've been doing is looking at our behavioral data for each of our schools, looking at some of our panorama surveys as well. And so looking at ways of directly responding to the needs of our students based on live data that we're getting regularly. So when we're meeting with APs and SPSAs, and we've actually had clinicians and guidance members, clinicians come in to those meetings as well, so that we can really think strategically about how we respond to some of the behavior responses in a way that aligns with our new code of conduct, so that it's progressive discipline as opposed to punitive. So that's another way that we've been integrating data.
And this, just to continue some other early evidence of progress, we're really focusing on making sure our response to intervention, our implementation is really strong, and making sure we're having the correct supports, and really making sure our teams of teachers are meeting frequently to talk about our student concerns and coming up with plans, whether that's academic interventions or is it social, emotional, or mental health issues. So it's not just, we have a plethora of people around the table. It's not just the academics, it's also the guidance counselors, it's also the mental health supports. As we all know, it takes a village, so everyone's around a table making sure we're responding appropriately to students. And then again, making sure that we're having clear, consistent expectations for all our schools. Just because you go to Crocker doesn't mean you should get a different experience than McKay or Rheingold, right? That's for all our schools. So making sure that we're having equal expectations and experience happening at all our schools. We've talked a lot about this, making sure we're putting in strong PLCs. It's really that planning. Are we working together as colleagues and administrators and planning those lessons that will be effective to help our students achieve? We've been doing a lot of that. A lot of work has gone into our professional learning communities or our PLCs this year. And then lastly, just improving our stronger teacher pipeline. I'm really happy to report we had several of our administrators and our director of HR go to Boston last week for a recruitment fair to look at recruiting certified, diverse candidates to come out here to Fitchburg. So we had some success last week, and we're hoping to repeat upon that success on Wednesday, having our own local job fair. Moving forward, what have we learned? And, what are those shifts we're going to be looking to make for this next trimester? One big piece is follow through drives impact. It's not just what we implement, but how we consistently follow through, and that determines whether our work improves and our outcomes improve. So making sure that we're following through with feedback, and making sure we are working the plan, checking in frequently. This is not just a plan on paper, it's something that is constantly monitored and followed up on. Alignment enables coherence. So when systems, expectations, and supports are aligned, schools are better able to implement work effectively. That's one of the big pieces that we're trying to do. We're trying to align our attendance protocols in our system so it's equal and equitable at all our schools. So that's one of the pieces to make sure that we're enabling alignment. One of the pieces that we're doing is we're actually making a toolkit for all our schools to use around attendance. So let's say we're an administrator and we're at Crocker and we're having an issue, engaging families. We're going to have a toolkit where the administration and teachers are going to be able to go in and say, here are some proven strategies that work on how to actually talk to parents and get them engaged in attendance. So we're creating that now with the help from all our teachers and our counselors throughout the district. Consistency drives impact. the quality and consistency of implementation, not just the plan, determine the impact of our student learning. So again, being consistent, making sure we're following up and monitoring our work. And then lastly, our feedback. Feedback we know strengthens practice. Ongoing feedback, monitoring, and adjustment help ensure that what we are doing is actually working. So again, monitoring our plan and providing consistent feedback. And then our last slide I want to go over is next steps to accelerate impact. As we really move into trimester 3, we are sharpening our implementation, consistency, and our measurable impact across our schools. Again, making sure we're strengthening PLCs for Tier 1, consistent, high-quality Tier 1 instruction for every student in every classroom every day. Again, scaling our MTSS implementation up, strengthening alignment of our expectations and targeted supports for all students in every school. Making sure we're monitoring our impact with data, using our data inquiry cycles to track progress, adjust in real time, and monitor impact. And lastly, align our systems and structures, ensure all resources, including our systems and structures, are aligned to our strategic plan and our priorities, and really making sure we are providing students with the best opportunities we can. So that being said, that's a really high level of where we are in trimester 2 for our strategic plan. Our last update in June will provide some data for you to give you a really good snapshot on what we did this year. Thank you. Questions on our strategic plan? All right. Thank you, everyone. So our last update is just to give you an update on where we are with our budget. So it's always the best for last. So one of the things we wanted to just update you on, and we'll get into it a little bit more, is Mr. Roach and I, after kind of looking to see where we are at with our budget lines and really talking to other urban districts throughout the state, we're going to recommend that we do move forward for the rest of the year. We are going to freeze our budget just to be safe. We do have some expenditures coming in, especially around out-of-district placements, special education, tuition, transportation, that we really need to keep an eye on. So as of today, I did send a memo out to all our schools, letting them know that the budget is frozen for the rest of the year.
Memo for everyone.
Oh, yeah, and we did provide that memo for everyone. If
When
you'd
you
like to see.
say the budget's frozen, what does that entail?
Yes. So that's going to mean that, let's say I am a principal that has $30,000 left in my materials line. That money will no longer be there. We will be taking that back and using it for other circumstances that we have to address, like our budget on special education, transportation, out-of-district placements.
That's a good plan.
Yep. This is a plan that a lot of urban districts do. And Jeremy, if you want to add on to that, one of the things that we did learn recently is a lot of urban districts, because they all face the same issues like us, they really do, they do this every year. And this is something we haven't done, but Jeremy, this year where we are at is something that I think we need to moving forward.
Yeah, it's tight. I mean, the memo, I think, outlines some of the rationale. As John mentioned, the majority of the urban districts in the MASBO committee for urban districts closed purchase orders at the beginning of April. Just no more purchase orders after that. A lot of it is to ensure that your spending is accounted for, because the state doesn't particularly like carryover funds from one year into the next, the encumbrance. But it's also related to, costs associated with special ed, as we've talked about, transportation, utilities, some of the other items that are listed here. We had some of the topics that we've updated on the quarterly general fund budget updates have been reviewed. We've talked about snow was hard to predict, and every community across the state had their budget for snow removal pretty much wiped out by probably mid-January. And there's some other topics there as well. So there will be some purchasing that will continue. You have to purchase items for graduations. You know, those are budgeted essentials that, for events that are going to occur, but some we can also push off into the FY27 budget. And that's what we'll look to do to make sure that, you know, all of our lines are balanced at the end of the school year.
Any questions on this year's budget and us freezing for the remainder of the year?
It's not bad, John, because we're, you know, 1st of May, that's not
We're
bad.
getting close to the end.
Yeah,
I think it's a
that's
smart.
good time to do
smart
it.
thing to
We did
do.
it April 13th last year, so it's 2 weeks
Yeah.
later this year. Maybe it'll be May, no, I'm kidding.
Maybe we do this every April moving forward.
Yeah, seriously, I think that's a good practice.
And we're not in a situation like some of the districts where we've lost enrollment, so then we are
No,
penalized for the next year?
no, we actually increased by 35 going into FY27, so that's a positive.
We increased 35?
Yep, overall, for the foundation budget, so that trend has
Because there are
continued.
some other districts that are being hit with these
Significant.
penalties that are really going to have to slash their budgets or look at overrides.
Look at all the towns around.
Closed schools.
Gardner, I mean.
Gardner got hit, I think, over 2 million.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of districts going out for overrides too this year. I mean, I think Narragansett is one of them too.
Oh, yeah.
They're in a, you know, really tight situation, so,
Yeah.
not us.
I mean, we're tight.
We're tight.
But we're not drowning.
We are not.
We're just kicking our legs.
Yep.
We have
Getting
our
to
head
June
above
30th,
water.
right? We're going to make it.
Yeah.
All
Great,
right,
great
so
job.
that's this year's budget. Jeremy is going to provide everyone with an update on where we are currently with our budget for next year. Remember, next Monday, it's the public comment for the budget. So today, everything went out publicly, so people have that. So we'll start our meeting off with our public budget hearing next Monday. And that's pretty much the entire agenda for next.
Yeah, I would, right, yeah.
So Jeremy, you are on, sir.
Yeah, so the budget book draft is linked in the online document. I will send that to you so you have it. It's at about 137 pages now. It does include all of the account lines. We're calling it a draft because we're still working closely with the city on the indirect cost total. We got an update about that last Thursday. But you'll have, we can click on it now if you want, John, or we can just review that. We're definitely going to go into more depth with it tomorrow at Resource Subcommittee. But the budget book is laid out. If we look at the agenda page, there's quite a bit of information in there for the variety of sites that we have, for, you know, a number of items specific to grants to the schools, and you know, as well as our capital and safety plans. And then at the end, we have all of the account lines listed, so you can take a look at, say, any of the schools or any of the large the district administrative sites, so special ed or the district lines. Yeah, this would be how the school.
Yeah, you have the schools, and then those, kind of the line item budget that.
Right at the end
starts right
there.
on page, or slide 112.
Yeah.
So 112 on, you have all the line items.
And I'll go into a quick summary on each one of those tonight in our overview.
But you can access this, it's been emailed to you, but it's also, you click on Fitchburg Public Schools, our website, it's the first thing that pops up. Okay?
So we have the positions, if we go back to the other presentation, the next slide reviews, the only adjustment that we made to what we had proposed in April 6th is a position in special ed, and it does address the need for an autism-focused teacher. It's typically, we refer to that program, sub-separate program, as our Pathways program. We just continue to see a significant amount of students with that learning disability, with that IEP and those needs, and these are at the younger age group, so we are looking to add that position. Other than that, everything else we had reviewed at the April 6th meeting, so.
So right now, that's the additional ask.
That's the additional in the
Positions.
fourth position
Yep.
in the special ed column there, or row, I guess.
Next slide.
Yep, we can move on. So from the budget book, I would say 3 slides that highlight kind of the overview. So if you look, like the mayor just mentioned, we're actually up 35 students from the foundation enrollment number of the previous year, which was 5791. So we're at 5826, which is good, because with the per pupil enrollment foundation budget number above 20,000, that's 35 times 20,000. So 700,000 or thereabouts related to that. As the mayor noted, if you're 35 minus, you just lost 700,000. So it's a really important thing that we look at in October every year. For FY27, we're getting a $6.5 million increase in Chapter 78. That's the state funding that will go to make up the overall foundation budget of $118,652,852. The city's contribution, and that's a 7.6% increase. The city's contribution is $1.5 million over the previous year at $25.866 million, 6.3% increase. The overall foundation budget that the state set is a 7.3% increase from the previous year. So it's $8 million more than the previous year. Indirect costs, so the costs that the city manages, health insurance, retirement contributions, school choice assessments, charter school assessments, school resource officers, general administration costs, a number of other things, workers' comp, unemployment costs, it is up to $31.9 million from 29.3. So just to give a context, in 2023, it was $21 million. Those costs have exploded, I would say, is probably the best way to put it.
Exploded. It's a good word.
Yeah, they explode. Every year, it's now like a $3 million or $2.8 million increase there. It's challenging. It's challenging for the communities like ours, really across the state. We had budgeted 31.6. So based on the meeting we had Thursday, the auditor and I, we did have to increase that to 31.9, which means we did remove 300,000+ from our overall budget presentation that we had made on April 6th. That leads us to an $86.7 million direct budget that we will manage if we go to the next slide. So ultimately, the budget's 96.2-ish. You know, it's draft, so it's still playing around with some numbers on the indirect, still playing around with what we add in on those positions, where people land in terms of salaries, that type of thing. That's why it's an approximate number for all of our salaries. What's relatively solid is our expense projections. What's relatively solid is transportation. We did bring that down to the contractual amounts with an increase to McKinney-Vento. That's the homeless transportation that we require. With 245 homeless students, you know, we see a significant cost there, so we did increase that one to $500,000. Brought it down a little bit just due to the indirect cost, but we're keeping it at a significant increase just to be safe. And then, again, we're roughly in that $86.7 million direct management budget of the general fund. And then the city will manage the remainder on the indirect. We can, yeah, oh, has a question, yes.
Sorry, I remember that we, at a previous meeting, had talked about getting or finding options or trying to build a school that would meet these additional needs of students who do school choice and have to leave the school system for like disabilities and needs. Will we still be trying to achieve that while we're in this freeze and we're still in this tight budget, or are we gonna wait?
Yeah, that's something we're gonna have to wait on, Anaya. That's something that I think we were ambitious to get this done in a year, but after talking to other districts and other collaboratives, it really is like a 3 to 5 year process. So that's something that that we want to continue to explore, but it's not going to be ready to go for next school year. But it's something, yes, that we are going to be planning on working on in the next few years.
The next one, great memory.
Yeah.
Space is a challenge.
Yep.
You have to have an effective space for a school, and that's, you know, we'll continue to explore and look at that because we really do feel like we need to do that. So the next slide reviews each site, as we showed in terms of the account lines. Here's the comparison from FY26 to FY27. An overall increase, and again, draft. So is that 95.6 going to increase to the 96.2? Yeah, once we add in those proposed positions, once we make a few adjustments. But roughly speaking, we're at a 5.6% increase from the previous year. It's really nice to know personnel costs. We have, our contracts are set for one more year. That's great. That's really helpful. We will enter into negotiations in the following year. So the 27, 28, we'll prepare for a little bit of the unknown. But in terms of 5.6, it's the exact percentage that the overall state education budget is landing at as well. So we're right there and comparable to what we're seeing kind of statewide at that multi-billion-dollar budget that the state rolled out for education. So that's where we are. We are going to meet and go into the budget book with more detail tomorrow and some questions. I know we have a few other topics on the agenda as well. We'll meet at South Street. So we'll be up in our home base, tomorrow night. But that's our schedule for the remainder of the year. And as John noted, we do have the public hearing coming up next week.
Next week?
Yep.
On Monday.
So
Yes,
question in
questions?
reference to when you made a comment earlier where other districts are having some budgetary issues.
Yeah.
My previous school, Lowell School District, they're mega, like layoffs coming up all over the place. So what did we do compared to our neighboring town like Gardner? Why are there such a financial despair?
I think if we go back
I
3
think it's the
slides.
enrollment, right?
Yeah, the biggest thing I can
Said
think
our
of.
enrollment is helping us.
It's enrollment.
Yeah.
What I hear from those other superintendents is that their enrollment actually dropped. And like Jeremy said, this extra additional 35 was what, about 700,000, Jeremy?
Yeah.
35, yeah.
The other thing I
Extra
would
35.
add-
And then, you think, other
Right.
districts, when you lose 100, 100 kids, that's a lot of money.
Huge,
Okay.
huge.
A lot of districts are experiencing the decline in enrollment,
Right.
and that's why they are, having financial issues, but also cost, healthcare.
Healthcare.
Health insurance is
really
another
key.
issue
Yep.
in a lot of districts.
So obviously, if we lose some of our students on school choice to other districts,
We do.
you minus money from us.
Yes, we do get their foundation budget number, and then we pay out from there. So that 5826, 5,826, does include school choice out. We would get the 21,000, or it's 20,800, I think, and then we would pay the other community the school choice assessment.
Which is like
50.
15,000?
On a non-special ed student, it's about 5,800.
5,800.
Oh, okay.
So we keep the rest, though.
the rest.
Now, if there are specific needs the students have, it might be a higher assessment.
And that's done individually.
Yeah,
by
that's
each-
done
each
specifically
student.
to the
So
student.
case in point, I just want to just finish up this one about the students that are from Fitchburg, that goes to Monty Tech, all right, which is, you're looking at about 350-some students. The quota is 88 students a year,
Yes,
and you can see the number accumulating. So we give our budget, for each kid to Monty Tech.
yes, the Monty Techs are not included in that number because they are, the way that the vocational charters work, they have their enrollment because they are that standalone district.
Right.
So the 5826 does not include Monty Tech enrolled students, of which I think we have 320 from
320,
Fitchburg
330,
that
yeah.
attend. It had been declining a bit, but we do expect it to go back to the cap because this is the first year of that lottery enrollment. So I do think this year we will see the 88 or 90. It is right around that.
Yeah,
The
it's
other
like 45
factor,
from each school, right?
it's something like that. The other factor I would say is the difference between category 10 to category 11, and that's based on your low income percentage, is significant. and Fitchburg is a Category 11 because 70 to 79.9% of the students are qualified for low income.
Right, right.
If you're in Category 10, like Gardner or Leominster or a couple of the other areas, it's a big difference for Category 11 and 12 in terms of the additional funding from
We're like-
that 92
We're
million.
like this close from 12, right?
Well, we've been pretty close to 12, yes. I think it seems like it's solidly in the mid, I think it's 76 now.
This is 76 or 78,
Yep,
something like that.
but it's closer to 12 for sure. But that's a big factor,
big
too.
factor
We
to
get a
those
lot of Chapter 78.
Okay.
Debbie?
Can we look at this calendar? Am I looking at this wrong?
That's the wrong one, Deb.
All right, I was going to say, because
That's
these
a
dates
sloppy
don't...
mistake on my.
All right,
So it's-
okay.
We have, all those dates are probably off by, it's May 4th,
They are,
it's
it's like, the
26th.
It's May 4th,
meeting dates
yes.
are a
16th,
Tuesday,
yeah.
and it's, yeah.
We forgot to update the
That
dates.
was-
That's our fault. We
Cut and
apologize.
paste and not realizing it was the wrong.
Okay.
May 4th is next Monday.
So
Okay,
apologies, that's my fault, that's not John's.
right, that's why I said the dates are wrong.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No, you're
Okay.
exactly right.
Mark us down on that.
I looked
Oh,
at
sorry.
it now and.
We caught the other mistakes earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The number on enrollment, that number includes our students who are in the MVP program, correct?
Does.
Yes, it does,
Yeah.
yes, yep.
And we get
Yep.
additional
We get
funds
additional
for them that we just transfer over to Monty Tech.
Good, good. Thank you.
Okay. So next Monday, come ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come with your
Budget
questions.
hearing, May
okay?
4th.
May 4th.
May the 4th be with us.
I saw the notice in today's Sentinel for the public hearing.
You saw it? Yes. I got to pay the bill.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's $200.
$91,
Oh,
that's
that's
it.
it?
91. All right, thank you, everyone. Last item is just the revised policy, the KBE, the final reading on the relations with parent booster organizations. Number 3, just switching the language to the all parent organizations shall make proof of their legal status with the Commonwealth, Articles of Incorporation, and of their status as an exempt 501c3 organization. That's all I have, Mayor. Back to you.
Where'd my agenda go? Is that mine?
Yes, it's yours now.
Okay, that works. All right. Did the budget update. All right, we talked about these things. Okay, we did this one. We did the first one already.
We're up to
We
action.
got one to do.
All right, we only have 26,621.
Make a motion to approve it. Action item 26621,
Second,
approve the policy subcommittee's recommendation to adopt revised policy KBE relations and parent/booster organizations.
We have a motion and second to approve 26,621. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Just want to thank the policy committee for working
yes,
through and utilizing the support of our council, whose name I just lost.
Mark Terry?
Mark Terry. Yes, yes. So thank you to everybody to make that happen, so.
Any other? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimously approved. Thank you very much. Other business, we have none. Executive session, we have none. Adjournment.
do your
Motion
thing
to
for
adjourn.
adjournment, Mr. Mayor.
I'll take it by unanimous consent. We're adjourned. Thank you.